You are driving to work and notice that your car just feels heavy, like you are dragging an anchor through deep sand. You hit the gas to merge, but there is a distinct lag before anything happens, and your fuel needle seems to drop faster every single week. You have done the standard oil changes and checked your tires, yet the vehicle still feels sluggish and unrefined, costing you hundreds in extra fuel and stolen performance. The automotive industry wants you to believe that once a car hits 50,000 miles, this decline is just natural aging that requires expensive shop diagnostics to fix. That is a lie designed to keep you spending money on premium services that often do nothing more than check boxes on a clipboard. In reality, your engine is likely suffocating or miscalculating its own environment due to small, overlooked settings you can fix in your own driveway. By the end of this countdown, you will have a roadmap to restore that factory-fresh snap and smoothness without buying a single magic bottle of engine restorer. Pay close attention to tip number 1, because it is the most misunderstood habit in modern driving that secretly kills your engine's efficiency from the inside out. Trick number 11. Optimize your tire pressure. You pull out of your driveway and the steering feels slightly heavy, requiring more effort to turn the wheel than it used to. When you let off the accelerator to coast toward a red light, the car slows down aggressively as if the parking brake is partially engaged. This is the classic symptom of rolling resistance, where your engine works significantly harder just to overcome the friction of the rubber meeting the pavement. Most people wait for a dashboard light to tell them there is a problem, but by then, you have already wasted gallons of fuel and dulled your acceleration. The underlying cause is a deviation from the manufacturer's specified air pressure, which changes with the ambient temperature. To fix this, ignore the max PSI on the tire sidewall, and instead use the specific numbers found on the sticker inside your driver's door frame. Check the pressure when the tires are cold using a digital gauge and adjust until they match the placard exactly. This eliminates the flat spot effect, giving you an immediate sensation of lightness in the steering and a car that glides further when you lift your foot. Now that your car is rolling freely, we need to make sure the engine can actually breathe through its primary intake. Trick number 10. High-quality air filter upgrade. You step on the gas to pass a slow-moving truck, but instead of a crisp surge of power, you hear a deep, hollow bogging sound from under the hood. It feels like the engine is gasping for air, struggling to find the momentum it usually has during a highway merge. This sluggishness is often the result of a restricted airway. Over time, your air filter becomes a wall of tightly packed dirt, salt, and debris. While it is doing its job by protecting your cylinders, a neglected filter forces the engine to use more vacuum pressure just to pull in oxygen, which kills your throttle response. The cause is simple air starvation, making the engine run rich and waste fuel that it can't properly burn. To fix this, bypass the cheap, flimsy paper filters found at big box stores and invest in a high-flow dry media filter designed for your specific housing. Open your airbox, usually held by simple metal clips, and swap the old graying unit for the new one, ensuring the rubber seal sits perfectly flush to prevent unmetered air from leaking in. You will immediately notice a sharper snap when you blip the throttle and a smoother climb through the RPM range. Once the air is flowing into the engine freely, we need to ensure the computer actually knows how much is getting in. Trick number 9. Mass airflow sensor cleaning. You are sitting at a red light when you notice the needle on your tachometer bouncing rhythmically, or perhaps the car shudders as if it is about to stall. When you finally get the green light, the car hesitates for a split second before stumbling forward, making your commute feel jerky and unpredictable. This happens because the mass airflow sensor, or MIF, has become coated in a microscopic layer of oil and dust. Even a tiny amount of contamination on the sensor's internal wire sends noisy data to the car's brain, leading to the wrong mix of fuel and air being injected into the cylinders. The cause is a dirty sensor element that can no longer accurately feel the air passing by it, leading to poor combustion. To fix this, locate the sensor housing on your intake tube, unplug the electrical connector, and carefully remove the sensor using a basic screwdriver. Spray the internal wire liberally with a specialized MAF sensor cleaner. Never use brake cleaner or WD-40, as these will ruin the delicate electronics. Once it air dries and you reinstall it, your idle will settle into a rock-solid whisper-quiet rhythm, and your fuel economy will stabilize. Now that the sensors are reporting accurately, we need to clean the physical gate that controls your engine's power. Want more practical tips like these? Subscribe for more quick fixes that save you real money. Trick number 8. Throttle body carbon removal. You notice that when you first press the gas pedal from a stop, it feels slightly sticky or requires a sharp thud to get it moving. Once you are cruising, the car might hunt for the right idle speed or feel uncharacteristically twitchy when you are just trying to maintain a steady pace. This resistance is caused by carbon coking, a sticky black residue that builds up around the edges of the butterfly valve in your throttle body. This gunk creates a physical obstruction that prevents the valve from opening and closing smoothly, confusing the engine's computer every time you move your foot. The fix is a simple manual cleaning that restores the precise tolerances your engine needs to breathe. Disconnect the large rubber air intake hose to expose the round metal opening of the throttle body. Then use a dedicated throttle body cleaner and a lint-free rag to wipe away the black ring of soot. Be careful not to force the electronic butterfly valve open too aggressively. Instead, have a friend hold the gas pedal down with the ignition on, but engine off, to let it pivot naturally. You will be rewarded with a pedal that feels buttery smooth and an engine that returns to idle instantly without any hanging RPMs. With the air passage clear, it is time to look at the tiny lightning bolts that actually start the fire. Trick number 7. Spark plug gap optimization. You might notice that your engine feels buzzy at high speeds or takes an extra second of cranking to fire up on a cold morning. Even if you aren't seeing a check engine light, your car could be suffering from spark blowout or weak ignition, which prevents the fuel from burning completely. This happens because spark plugs are often installed straight out of the box without checking the gap, the tiny airspace where the electricity jumps. Over thousands of miles, the intense heat actually erodes the metal, widening that gap until the spark becomes too weak to reliably ignite the fuel-air mixture under pressure. The cause is simple wear and tear that increases electrical resistance, forcing your ignition coils to work twice as hard. To fix this, remove your spark plugs and use a gap tool or feeler gauge to measure the distance between the center and ground electrodes, adjusting them to the exact thousandth of an inch specified in your owner's manual. Ensure the electrodes are clean and free of carbon deposits before threading them back in by hand to avoid cross-threading. Once gapped correctly, your engine will start faster and deliver a much smoother power delivery under heavy load. Now that your spark is strong, we need to make sure the fuel it is burning is actually the right grade for your hardware. Trick number 6. Correct fuel. Octane alignment. You pull onto a steep incline or try to accelerate quickly onto the highway and hear a faint metallic rattling sound coming from the engine bay, almost like marbles shaking in a tin can. This sound, known as knock or pinging, is a sign that your engine is struggling with its internal timing and heat management. Many drivers think they are saving money by using the cheapest gas available, but if your car's computer has to constantly retard the timing to prevent damage from low-grade fuel, you end up losing both power and efficiency. The soft villain here is the misconception that all fuel is the same. Using the wrong octane creates a dirty combustion that leaves your car feeling sluggish and underpowered. The cause is pre-ignition, where the fuel explodes too early in the cylinder because the octane rating isn't high enough to withstand the engine's compression. To fix this, consult your owner's manual or the inside of your fuel door to find the manufacturer's recommended or required octane level, and don't deviate from it. If you've been using regular 87 in a car designed for 91, switch back and notice how the engine's pull feels much more consistent and the rattling disappears. This simple alignment ensures the computer runs its most aggressive and efficient fuel map, giving you back the horsepower you've been leaving on the table. With the fuel burning correctly, we need to ensure the engine isn't choking on its own internal gases. Trick number 5. PCV valve replacement. You might notice small oil spots on your driveway or a faint smell of burning oil coming through the vents when you are stopped at a light. Your engine may also feel uncharacteristically heavy or exhibit a rough idle that feels like a constant, low-grade vibration through the steering wheel. This is often caused by a clogged positive crankcase ventilation, or PCV valve, which is a tiny plastic component that most drivers ignore for the life of the vehicle. When this valve sticks shut, internal pressure builds up until it forces oil past your seals and disrupts the delicate balance of air inside the intake manifold. The underlying cause is a buildup of oil vapors and carbon that eventually glues the internal plunger of the valve in place. To fix this, locate the PCV valve on top of your engine, usually tucked into a rubber grommet on the valve cover, and pull it out to perform the shake test. If it doesn't rattle like a spray paint can, it is dead. Simply pop in a new one, which usually costs less than a lunch at a drive-thru. This small swap restores proper vacuum levels, stops oil leaks before they start, and smooths out your idle instantly. Now that the internal pressure is regulated, we need to ensure the electrical path to your cylinders is unobstructed. Trick number 4. Ignition coil and wire inspection. You are cruising at a steady speed when you feel a sudden, sharp hiccup or a momentary shudder that feels like the car just tripped over its own feet. This intermittent stumbling often happens under light load, like when you are maintaining 45 miles per hour on a flat road, and it makes the vehicle feel unreliable and old. The culprit is usually a hairline crack in an ignition coil or a frayed spark plug wire that allows electricity to leak out and arc against the engine block instead of reaching the spark plug. This wasted energy results in a partial misfire, leaving unburnt fuel to wash down your cylinder walls and kill your efficiency. The cause is the natural degradation of rubber and plastic insulators, which eventually succumb to the thousands of heat cycles your engine endures every year. To fix this, wait until it is dark and run the engine with the hood up. Look for tiny blue sparks jumping along the wires or around the coils, which indicates a leak. Use a multimeter to check for high resistance in the wires, or simply replace any coil boot that shows signs of white tracking or carbon burns. Swapping out these worn components ensures every bit of electrical energy is converted into a powerful explosion, giving you a crisp, predictable engine response. With the engine firing on all cylinders, we need to make sure your brakes aren't secretly fighting your progress. Trick number 3. Brake drag resolution. You notice that your car doesn't seem to roll as freely as it used to, almost as if you are driving through shallow water even on dry pavement. If you touch your wheels after a short drive and find one rim is significantly hotter than the others, or if your car pulls slightly to one side when you let go of the wheel, you have a dragging brake. This is a silent performance killer that acts like a constant anchor, forcing your engine to burn extra fuel just to maintain speed and wearing down your expensive brake pads prematurely. The cause is usually a seized caliper slide pin or a collapsed rubber brake line that prevents the brake piston from retracting fully. To fix this, lift the car and spin each wheel by hand. It should rotate at least 1 or 2 full turns before stopping on its own. If a wheel feels stiff, remove the caliper and clean the slide pins with a wire brush. Then apply a high-temperature silicone grease to ensure they move back and forth without resistance. This simple lubrication job eliminates parasitic drag, letting your car coast effortlessly and improving your highway mileage by as much as 10%. Now that the wheels are spinning free, we need to look at the liquid that keeps the engine's internal parts moving. Trick number 2. Precision oil viscosity selection. You start your car on a chilly morning and hear a faint metallic chatter or a slow, labored cranking that feels like the battery is dying. Even after the engine warms up, the car feels heavy and unresponsive, as if the internal components are moving through molasses rather than smooth lubricant. This internal friction is a silent thief of horsepower, often caused by using an oil that is too thick for your specific engine's tight tolerances. While older cars could handle thicker fluids, modern engines rely on very thin oil to reach critical bearings instantly and to reduce the energy loss to pumping thick liquid through tiny passages. The underlying cause is choosing oil based on outdated, old-school advice, rather than the specific engineering requirements of your modern power plant. To fix this, look at your oil cap or owner's manual, and ensure you are using the exact viscosity grade, like 0W20 or 5W30, recommended for your climate. If you've been using a high-mileage oil that is significantly thicker to stop leaks, you might be accidentally strangling your engine's efficiency. Switch back to a high-quality synthetic of the correct weight during your next change. You will notice a faster revving engine and a quieter startup, as the correct oil flows perfectly to where it is needed most. Now that the internals are gliding, it is time for the final secret habit that determines how long your engine actually lasts. Trick number 1. The controlled warm-up protocol. You hop into your car, twist the key, and immediately shift into drive to hurry off to your first destination of the day. As you pull onto the main road, you notice the engine sounds clattery, the transmission shifts are harsh, and the car feels like it is struggling to find its footing. Most drivers believe modern fuel-injected engines don't need a warm-up, but slamming a stone-cold engine into high-speed traffic causes the computer to stay in a cold start loop. This forces a massive over-injection of fuel that doesn't burn completely, washing away protective oil from your cylinder walls and making your car feel sluggish for the entire duration of your trip. The cause is uneven thermal expansion. Your pistons and seals haven't reached their designed operating size, leading to poor compression and wasted energy. To fix this, start your car and wait just 60 seconds. Exactly long enough for the initial high idle to drop and the oil to circulate to the top of the engine. Once you pull away, drive lightly for the first 3 miles, avoiding heavy acceleration or high RPMs until the temperature needle moves off the bottom peg. This disciplined habit ensures your engine reaches peak efficiency faster, preserves your seals, and delivers the smoothest possible power for the rest of your drive. By following these 11 steps, you have effectively stripped away the layers of neglect and hidden anchors that have been dragging down your vehicle's performance. You have optimized your rolling resistance, cleared your engine's airways, and ensured that every drop of fuel is being converted into pure motion rather than wasted heat and vibration. Remember, the number 1 value is the controlled warm-up. Treat your engine with respect during those first few minutes, and it will reward you with a factory-fresh feel and thousands of extra miles of reliability. Take your car out this weekend, apply these tricks, and feel the difference for yourself. If you found this valuable, hit like and subscribe, then comment your car's year and model along with the trick that worked best for you. To unlock even more performance secrets, click the video on the end screen now and I'll see you there.